welcome to Up in the Air.
Heyo! Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in. We are trying a new layout this week. We've been testing something different almost every week.
Yeah, I feel like this might be the one.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of YouTubers do this, so I think that's the trend.
Basically, it's like we're recording the podcast, so we'll have maybe the audio up, but we're wanting to compile a video to put it up on YouTube, and then we can hopefully list all of the tracks of our playlist at the end. We unfortunately can't play them because of copyright issues.
Yeah.
But hopefully this works out. It's easier for us to like put the content out there because we have a lot of free time on our hands these days. But yeah, we do want to introduce ourselves for those of you that don't know us. I'm DJ Nuna.
And I'm DJ Clarence.
And
Up in the air.
But yeah, Clarence, how are you doing today?
Good. I mean, like, we have class together, so you know that today's class was particularly long and boring-ish. And yeah, I just like every week of school, I realize how much I hate like sitting in front of a computer for like more than I guess like in your own time you would sit in front of a computer and like not really mind, but now that we have to do it for school and like you have to be attentive because you have the camera facing you, I'm just like, fuck this. Oh my god.
I think it's funny because for our design classes, it's a lot smaller. So we are expected to have our video on the whole time and be attentive.
Yeah.
Like today I got on, like I hate logging onto class early. Like I get there right on the dot because I don't want to have awkward conversation. But today I logged on at 11:58 and I logged on
2 minutes early. You fucked up.
and then I turned off my video and I was in my kitchen heating up my lunch, and then the professor was like, Jubilee, where'd you take your profile picture? So I had to run back to my laptop, unmute myself.
This is you. You're like, I took it outside.
But yeah, that has been our reality. We had 3.5-hour class today. Kind of funny, our professor posted.
Wait, is it 3.5? It's 2 hour 50, right? It was like.
But just today, it ended at like 3:25.
Did it really?
Yes.
Holy shit! I didn't even realize.
A phone call at 3:30 I had to get to, and I pushed it to 3:35 because I was like, bro, I need to like take a 5-minute break.
A breather. Dude, I have like the smallest bladder, bro. Because every time we're in class, like 25 minutes in, I'm like, damn, I need to go to the bathroom. So I just turn off my camera and I run to the bathroom.
Off a lot. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, our professor posted a funny meme. It's like design. I'll insert it in the video, but designers before quarantine and after quarantine, like we're just on our computers anyway. Sorry, we are kind of normalized to be on our computers all the time, but I don't know, classes are usually more interactive. Like you get to get up and talk about your work.
Yeah, I feel like I think better on my feet, you know, like when I'm just like, what do you call it? Pacing back and forth, you know, and I'm like thinking to myself. That's when the ideas be like, it's me.
For sure. But yeah, that's been our reality, and we are fortunate to be with our families. We're eating good.
Yeah, too good.
Too good.
So bad. I drink every night. Okay, not every night, but often. And it's not
choice.
Nowadays it's wine. Like before, I guess last week I was drinking a lot of beer. And then I'm like, well, I think I have a better time when I drink like a glass of wine and then I watch like my favorite shows or whatever. Which is a good segue, right? Into
our topic of the day.
Right.
We were talking about the media we've been interacting with, movies, films, those are the same thing, sorry, shows. Just because we've been having a lot of time on our plate once again, so it's a good time to be exploring new things, and there's been a lot of good releases during quarantine. Like, I'm glad that the timing worked out like that.
Right.
Yeah, what's something that you've watched recently?
Very recently I watched Arrival. Well, I have this thing where like I just rewatch a lot of stuff, like when I have a sudden urge to, and so I watched Arrival, which is like starring Amy Adams. It's that movie where like there's like a alien visitation, and then she's a linguist or whatever they call it, and then she has to basically figure out how to communicate with the aliens. Very good movie. I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it. Is it on Netflix?
It's on Amazon Prime. But if not, well, I rented it on YouTube for like $4, which is not bad. Cause like, I guess nowadays I'm like, well, I don't mind paying the $4 because usually I would buy a coffee every day. So I'm like, well, the money got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I watched that. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm in the mood for like some alien stuff. Like something that's gonna blow my mind, you know what I mean? Like give me chills.
I think sci-fi is cool.
Yeah, like you know how sometimes I feel like that's like true escapism, you know? When like you're just in a whole different world. I think that's, I don't know. Sometimes I have the urge to watch something like that. But what about you? What have you been watching?
Well, Clarence knows that I started a new show. Well, it's not new. I'm actually pretty late to the game, but I started Atlanta.
You just started it?
I am halfway through season 2, and yeah, I'm just fascinated by it. I think that Donald Glover is so talented. So talented. I think that the way that he represents his identity as a Black man is really interesting, and like it's very comical, but also very honest and raw. And then I really like the different narratives that each character has and how each episode kind of delves into that. I really like the storyline of his relationship with his baby mama, because it's like a very interesting.
Shout out Zazie Beetz.
And then Paperboy, and then
Did you know that he started out on Broadway?
I did not know that. What show?
I don't remember exactly what he was in, but he you should watch his interviews like on late night.
Thing.
Because you would think that his voice is like somewhat similar to his character, but they're different. Yeah.
I need to check it out. He has such an interesting personality because yes, he's like a macho, kind of guarded dude, but he kind of just is really insecure and sad.
Yeah, I think that says a lot. Like it's like Donald Glover and like the other writers are kind of commenting on like how a lot of rappers are, I guess, you know. Like we would never really know, but you know, Donald Glover is also like a very big musician, so
there's like a lot of commentary in his episodes that I think is really special because it's not super overt. It just takes time for you to think and reflect about it. I think one of my favorite episodes was the band episode where it's like a late night talk show and Paperboy is being interviewed with a trans woman and how they're trying to compare the rights of trans people and Black people side by side. And Paperboy's like, the fuck? Like, that's just... Or he's not even being discriminatory, but they keep like polarizing the conversation. And do you remember the part when it's that Black guy is transracial? And do you remember that?
So funny.
He's literally identified as a white guy, and they bring him on the show thinking he's gonna bring a new perspective. Oh, like, what? But yeah, I think that there's a lot of interesting commentary. So that's been something I've watched. Clarence and I both recently watched Tiger Tail.
Actually, no, I haven't. Oh wait, Tiger Tail. Yes, I have.
Oh, you're talking about Tiger King?
Yeah, I don't know why I got the name. So.
Saw it 2 days ago.
Yeah, true. Sorry, we did watch Tiger Tail. It was great. I think it was, like Alan Yang, the writer and the. Did he direct it? No.
Of Master of None, too. I don't know about director. We'll have to verify that.
Yeah, but it's like a love letter to his family, and it's like semi-autobiographical, biographical. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. I do have some issues with it, but I mean, like, I don't know. It's like I keep comparing it to other films that like have these sort of like Asian American or like Asian immigrant stories. So I don't think it's really fair sometimes to compare. But yeah, I mean, like, what did you think of the film? Do you think it was good?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really beautifully made. I think that cinematography wise, really beautiful, like a lot of rich colors. Soundtrack was beautiful. It really reminded me of the Farewell soundtrack because it was really orchestral heavy, like violins and cellos. And then the people I was watching it with, or like Netflix partying it with, talked about how it was like the visuals were very similar to In the Mood for Love, which I watched a year ago, and I liked that film too. I think that the narrative presented was really, and yeah, painful to watch at times, because it does resonate with like my grandparents' narratives of having to move to the States with nothing and
having no friends, and like I think that's the one of the biggest things is like these immigrants came here with not only like no money or whatnot, like no experience. Or like I guess no experience that is valued in America. Like they could come here with a degree and like whatever, right? But then they get to the States and like the States don't recognize whatever they like their education or whatnot. But I think the biggest thing, like for me at least, I think it's the whole like friendship and like kinship and peers. Like they have none of that here. Which is interesting because like when she makes that friend his wife makes that friend in the movie, like you can tell like how enriching that is for her, and like how how much she feels way more accepted, and like even if it's just a single person.
Yeah, they definitely, I think in a lot of narratives they talk about immigrants came here with no money, no knowledge, but they do tend to leave out the part of like the entire network that they have, like the difference in language, like social cues or mannerisms that is really hard to learn once you're here. I think that it showed a good contrast between the dad's experience and the wife's experience, because they're two very different but very common narratives. And yeah, for those of you that don't know, Tiger Tail is a film that basically it's kind of, as Clarence said, like a biography, but an immigrant's narrative. The dad is born and raised for most of his life in Taiwan, immigrates to the States with a woman he barely knows but is set up with, and then kind of shows like his relationship with his Taiwanese American daughter throughout, and like kind of, and it's a love story too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely does a good job of like kind of showing why he is the way he is, by like it goes like doing kind of like flashbacks, of his time when he first immigrated to the U.S. and then like switching back between scenes of him in the present day and then like in the past. So I think it's really just focusing in on how like your past experiences shape how you are, even if like it's complete, like even if you were a complete different person.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's often a gap of understanding between our generation and our parents' or grandparents' generation. So I think it did it did accurately depict a certain narrative, and yeah, I do think it was pretty honest, and I cried during it. It was pretty. Did your mom like it? Did you watch it with your mom?
I did watch it with my mom, but okay, my mom like she wasn't really like paying attention that much at the beginning, and then like I guess like halfway or like a quarter of the way through, I was like, "Mom," and then she like went off her phone, and then she started watching, and I think she liked it, but I mean, clearly she was a little distracted, you know.
I mean,
I
it's
don't
because I think even when my mom watched The Farewell, it didn't hit her like it hit me, even though it's more relatable to my mom. So
know.
because I was like bawling so like a lot during The Farewell, and my mom was like, yeah, like it's okay, it was okay, like I liked it. So it's interesting how that works.
Yeah, I feel like my mom would cry more in like those dramas, like the cheap, Hong Kong dramas, as
Yeah.
opposed to like these sort of bigger production movies. Which I think is funny. I mean, like I think part of that is because like the way the dialogue is structured, they don't have to say a lot to like get the message across, and I think like as like the younger generation, like we have lived through a lot of these like subtle cues and like ways of communication, like body language and whatnot. And so you know how like there's always that thing of people saying, oh, like I never heard my parents tell me they love me, like that they're proud of me, and like it's true, for a lot of people. And so I think with films like this, it really does a good job of like showcasing that type of experience, and like especially for the Asian American, like third or fourth generation, yeah, like that scene when his dad is or her dad is, he's just like drinking tea by himself in his like home.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that, and I was like, damn, my dad really be doing that.
And I think that made me think of my grandparents during quarantine, because we don't get to see them, and they're already spending a lot of time on their own, but on top of quarantine, like they can't go out, they can't go to the park like they usually do. They just try to walk in their neighborhood, like early in the morning when there's not a lot of people. Can't even go to the grocery store. Like those small things are what make up like their daily routine. And like my grandpa also used to go fishing, but now he's not doing that. So it's just sad to think that is kind of the reality right now.
Yeah, but even then, like, can you imagine living in a world like without phones? Like you're so accustomed to this, like we're so accustomed to this life where we can just like go on our phone and be connected to the world.
Yeah.
Like, what if you didn't have that, and you just pour yourself a cup of tea and just sit there and you're like,
because for me, when I eat, I always put something on to watch. That's why I watch a lot of shit, because when I eat or drink something, I'm like, oh, perfect time to watch and multitask. So
right. So I'm just like, I don't know, like I think sometimes, especially nowadays, I've been trying to like at least have some time when I'm not absorbing some sort of content,
that's important for sure.
Yeah. And then for me, it's like I've been biking recently, so that's been like a nice way for me to just kind of not absorb any content.
Biking is so freeing. It makes you feel so alive.
Bro, I had a like an indie movie kind of like moment for a second. Like I was riding down the middle of the street, and then like there were like no cars around, and then so I just let go of the handlebars, and then I was like, dude, I'm like in the indie movie right now. If I just spread my arms.
I love that feeling.
Yeah.
Life is a movie.
It really do be. Yeah.
But yeah, I have just been watching so many shows. It's embarrassing. Like, I think I mentioned early quarantine, I watched all 3 seasons of On My Block. And I am currently watching Terrace House. I'm on part 3. If you watch Terrace House, start the conversation with me because not enough people watch it, but I have so many opinions about it.
Good or bad?
For those of you that don't know, Terrace House is a Japanese reality show where 6 strangers live together and kind of try to pursue relationships. None of them really turn out to be anything substantial, but it's interesting, like the cultural differences in how they interact with each other. Where like American reality shows are really raunchy and like they're just kind of sleeping with each other or like backstabbing, but this one they're very polite and like courtshipy. So not courtship, but like just super polite.
So what does that say about like Americans?
It just says that we have a lot of issues with like and like early.
There's no chivalry here.
Like, I'm gonna expose my homie, but Derek watches Love Is Blind. I watched like the first 2 episodes, but I could not watch it. But I don't know how I saw it, but I think I was hanging out with him, and like he had like notes on his phone about Love Is Blind commentary, like questions and commentary. Sorry, Derek, to expose you, but he was just like, or not, like.
Who is he sharing that with? Like himself or?
Himself. Sorry to expose you, Derek, but
Yeah, this man's probably on the Reddit thread afterwards. Like anybody who has opinions about this scene.
I literally, like, for Terrace House, I looked up today, is Emika and Tupas still together? Because they just are, I swear it's like a fake relationship. But anywho. Have you been watching any shows?
Anyway, new shows. I've been watching a show called Devs, which is pretty good. It's on FX. But it's like you can stream it on Hulu. And it's good. I mean, Nick Offerman's in it, the guy from Parks and Rec. And like he plays like the the guy with the big beard? The white dude.
Yes.
Yeah, him. But he plays like a what is he? Oops. Sorry.
That could have been mine too.
That is yours. Fuck. He plays like the head of a tech company, and basically like the protagonist, her boyfriend gets into this group, like a special development group at the company, and then like the next day he commits suicide, and so you're kind of like finding out like why or what happened to him and whatnot. Spoiler, not really a spoiler, but he didn't commit suicide. Like he got, but yeah, he got murked.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's again like one of those sci-fi-ish shows, but then like this one's tapped in a little bit more of like our reality, and so it's just like it doesn't seem like it's that far off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, another show that Clarence, you put me on was Rami. And that's also on Hulu. We highly recommend it. We might compile a list of shows and movies y'all should watch since y'all have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about what Rami's about? Because I thought it was kind of similar vibes to Master of None, like the kind of wittiness of the show and.
Yeah, I mean, Rami's just like a show that's focused on the character Rami Youssef, who he's a comedian, but it's kind of like
really
semi-autobiographical, but it just outlines the experience as like a Muslim American and like, like sort of balancing between like being a more devout Muslim versus like not as devout and like
lukewarm. That's what like Christian identity, like you can be devout or lukewarm.
Right. But yeah, and then it kind of like talks about I don't know, stereotypes and like what it like this I guess like it has a more real take at it, you know? And you really get to see how it is for like someone around like our age and like what it's like, you know? Because I think a lot of the perspectives that we hear or read about isn't necessarily like the ones that you see on screen, you know?
For sure. I think it also like intersects into lots of different identities, like being Muslim and being a woman. His friend, one of his close friends, has a disability. Kind of delving into that narrative.
Yeah, I was just like appreciating how diverse the show was.
Yeah. Like I've never really seen a show that was so like blunt and honest about like having a disability.
Right.
And then also I talked to Clarence about this, but like they kind of talk about aging and what that's like. Sorry, I just got a message. There's an episode about his mother, and it was quite sad. Like, it's kind of similar to like the whole drinking tea by yourself kind of feeling, where it's as you age, you kind of have to accept being more independent, and enjoy like moments of solitude a bit more. So that was interesting too. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's like also touching on how like fast the world can change around you, you know, and like how you can quickly lose connection with everyone and like just be out of feeling like you're outdated.
Sure.
Yeah. Actually, you know, it's a good question. What are some shows that people have tried to make you watch, but you're just like, no?
Yes, that's a good question. For those of you that watch Korean dramas, a lot of people were trying to get me to watch Crash Landing on You, but I watched a little bit of the first episode. I need to try it again, but it didn't stick with me. But people have been like kind of obsessing over that. Another show is like not like amazing. So many people have tried to get me to watch like anime shows like Naruto or Attack on Titans, and I'm sorry, I just can't watch. I can't watch those type of animes that have like 500 episodes. So
yeah, I mean, I guess you gotta like pick your battles, right? Like, do you really want to spend? Well, okay. First off, like I've seen Naruto, and I think it's absolutely great. Like it's awesome.
Oh,
but I understand like why you'd be like, I don't really want to watch it, you know.
Also, I feel like this might be a little bit of a controversial topic, but I feel like a lot of people are addicted to anime, but they don't call it an addiction. So same with
that's like me drinking a lot and not saying that I have a problem, you know.
Oh, it's just quarantine. You just drink.
I mean, it's just temporary. Like it's not. I can stop whenever I want, you know.
Dude, I'm almost
funny. That's not funny.
You're like, haha. So as you sip more, I'm gonna have a refill. Scared I was gonna spill.
Oh my god.
How about you? What's a show that people try to get you to watch?
One of my buddies has been trying to get me to watch Peaky Blinders. It's on Netflix. You know, it's funny because like I actually feel like I'd like it, but the fact that it's called Peaky Blinders, I'm just like, no, I'm not watching that shit. I think it's like early 1900s, kind of like about gangs and stuff and like gang rivalry. Yeah, I just thought it was funny because like he was like, yo, you gotta check out the show, it's super dope, like it's pretty violent, it's called Peaky Blinders, and I'm like, dude, I'm not watching a show called Peaky Blinders.
I wonder why they named it that. Peaky Blinders?
I'm sure it has a really good like reason why, but I don't want to look into it, you know. I don't want to admit that I'm wrong.
watch you end up loving it.
I know, but actually, I'm a little occupied. I just season 4 of Insecure has come back, so I'm gonna be watching that weekly. And then I've been watching Westworld, and I've been keeping up with that too. So it's been keeping me busy. I just feel like I don't want to watch too many shows because like
We're running out of ideas, or not ideas, but running out of shows to watch.
well, I mean that, but I just feel like now at this point I have a very high standard for shows, but also just like in terms of its like concept and story, like I'm looking for something specific, you know. And if it doesn't like immediately grab my attention, like I don't want to watch it.
I feel like shit catches my attention. Like, I'm not proud to admit this, but I have watched all seasons of Gossip Girl.
Have you seen those memes recently?
Which ones?
The Gossip Girl ones.
No. What is it?
It's I don't understand it, but it's like a picture of Blake Lively, and she's like saying something, and then like people edit whatever she's saying, and then there's a picture of like the Gossip Girl like logo, and then they just like block out some of the letters.
Huh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't get why it's. I mean, like I've been seeing it a lot. I don't really know how it started and why it's funny, but
Interesting. Also, I told myself I wouldn't keep this in the frame, but I've kept this in the frame the whole video.
well, you can't move it now.
But yeah, I told Clarence about this already, but I got sucked into All American.
Dude, I cannot watch that show either. I have no interest.
All CW shows are kind of cringy. Like,
They're almost all trash.
Like, low-key, Jane the Virgin was good, really good for a while, but Gina Rodriguez kind of, I don't know about her anymore. But CW shows are a different breed. I mean, like, if you think about it, America's Next Top Model is a CW show.
No, if you think about like all those like superhero shows on CW, Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, like.
I just said Lightning. I thought Flash was called Lightning.
That's.
Oopsies.
You're gonna get burned at the stake. No, I just think like all those shows, they're like the same shows. You know what I mean? And it's like obviously they are kind of the same shows because they have crossovers, but like it's all filmed the same way. It's all like from the same kind of like point of view, you know? And like stylistically, it all feels the same. And like low key, it's just that Arrow is a little darker, like in terms of its just setting. It's like always kind of dark, and then like the Flash is always kind of like in the day. And I used to watch it, but now I just hate it. I think it's terrible.
CW, you gotta step up your game. Kind of corny, so.
But I just feel like there's always that kind of audience though too. You know what I mean?
Like me.
Well, not you directly, but I'm just saying like people who sometimes want to just have a show to throw on in the background.
Pleasure. I'm proud to like All American. Like, I feel like my palette is pretty refined. Like, I do like decent, like well-made, good shows. But then All American, it's like something I watch like when I'm putting on makeup or like cleaning my room. That type of shit.
You're not really paying attention.
Yeah. Also, there's just so many memes on All American. For those of you that watch, it's like I saw this one TikTok of Spencer, who's the main character, and he's this type of guy that like does not like to be helped. Like, he just has like issues with that. But it's a video of him sneezing, and someone's like, "Bless you," and he's like, "Don't bless me." Like, what about Coop? What about Crenshaw? And like, why don't you bless them? And then like, but that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's crazy how like there's a meme for everything. Like nothing can escape the whole meme culture.
Yeah, it's Clarence and I have been having a few design projects where we've gotten to like talk a bit about meme culture, or like how people are interacting with arts and entertainment during the quarantine and the pandemic. And it's crazy because everyone that's at home right now is kind of leaning on arts and entertainment to take up their time, unlike anything before, you know. So, and then people cope with everything with meme culture, which is quite unique to our generation, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can have the most bizarre like photo, and then if we see it, we're like, yeah, I feel that. You know what I mean? It's just like it could be like the weirdest thing, you know, and you're like, yeah, that's like spot on, like how I feel or whatever.
Yeah, I think during this time we've been spending a lot of time alone with media, with different shows, music, internet stuff. Like I've been once again on TikTok way more than before.
So would you say overall it's like super detrimental to your mental health and physical health even?
TikTok?
Yeah. Think hard.
Yes. Like Nike, TikTok is just funny, but there is like something very addictive about it. That's not like other apps. So
I think it's the speed of it. Like it's so fast. And it will just keep going until
scroll.
You know what though? I think for you especially, since you've absorbed so many TikTok dances, like the next time you go out, it's just like your whole dance routine now. You're like your go-to moves are all strictly TikTok dances.
I can't wait to go out and like they play that. Also, y'all, I'm calling it. I swear, "Say So" is gonna be one of my top songs on my
Spotify thing.
Yeah, I'm so sad to admit to that, but it's true.
It's gonna be "Say So" and then "Savage" and then and then some Janae Aiko song, right? Pussy
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Honestly. But yeah, I don't know how much time has passed. I'm not sure.
Started?
I think it's been kind of a long time.
I have no idea. It's 11:02 though. Does that mean anything to you?
I think I keep doing this thing where I'm like sliding this.
Oh, it's been like a little bit more than half an hour.
Okay. Do you think we should go to our song of the week?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap it up and go to our song of the week, we just, as per usual, hope that you all are staying healthy and that your families and loved ones are healthy. We kind of we just want to keep doing Up in the Air. One, to continue our show, and we like curating playlists and we like having these conversations, but also like it's fun content to interact with during this time.
Yeah. I mean, it gives me like something to do, you know, some sort of like schedule besides school, like something that I'm like, well, I can just say whatever I want to say.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's just kind of crazy how much I did take for granted last quarter. I think there's some weeks with Up in the Air that I was like, bro, I'm like honestly really tired. Like, should we just get someone to cover it? Because we did have like a really heavy workload last quarter, but now I'm thinking, yeah, we have one more year of this, so we're gonna make it count, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
And then maybe for the next couple of weeks, we'll try to have some guests to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the Zoom format would be good to have a guest on.
Re-recording is nice. Yeah. But yeah, Clarence, who should go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So my song of the week is "Save Room" by John Legend. Yeah, it's like a classic song, and I like recently just came across it on like a shuffled playlist, and so I mean I just think like, well, first of all, the bass line is crazy. It's like, anyways, super lit. But also it's just like a feel good song, you know, and I think it has a nice little bounce to it, and yeah, I mean, low key for a second I wasn't really listening to the lyrics, despite like kind of knowing the lyrics, like when you like know 60% of the song and then you just know the melody really well. Yeah.
Definitely. There's where I listened to a song and I was like, was this part in the song like always?
Yeah.
Or just notice it? Because sometimes, yeah, I'm either more paying attention to the lyrics or the melody.
But it's funny, like when you listen to a song, and you're like, "Yo, this shit's like it's like so fun to listen to and whatnot." And then when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, "Damn, this is really sad."
You're like, fuck, this is really sad. Or you're like, dang, this is really derogatory.
Yeah, you're like, man, like I wish they weren't saying like fuck women. But yeah, anyways, that's my song of the week, and I hope you guys can check out our playlist. Jubilee, what's your song of the week?
My song of the week is "You Can't Save Me" by Sir. I also found it just, I think, on, when you let your playlist just keep running and then it plays like related tracks. I found it through that. I don't know. I do think I've been listening to music less these days just because I overdid it and was listening to too much. But yeah, that's been a good song on my list. And also, Frank released 2 new tracks. I really enjoyed them.
Kid Cudi released a song like 2 hours ago.
Shoot. Oh, I think I saw that on Twitter. Yeah. We'll likely feature it on the playlist.
Yes.
But yes, we hope that you enjoy. If you have any topic recommendations, like, go ahead and let us know because we have fans that
hit the subscribe button. It's going to be right.
Smash it.
Smash the subscribe button.
But yeah, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is
Up in the Air. Damn it, you were late, bro. God damn it. All right, next time we'll get it.
Next time. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, one last cheers. Peace.